everyone. So I had this from the morning when we were learning with the children about this upcoming Moed, this upcoming appointed time, Yom Truah. And so Yom Truah means a very loud sound. It's not exactly a trumpet. A trumpet is a loud sound and is a truah. But truah it could be also a verb, to make a very loud sound. And I was asking the children, when do you remember of a very loud sound in the scriptures? So first, Gabby said, when the walls of Jericho came down. And that's right, the children of Israel were commanded to blow the shofars on the seventh day after going around the city for 7 times, and it says that they were commanded to make a very loud sound. So it's the same verb, the same root as truah. Then Yaeli said she remembers when Yah descended upon Mount Sinai and there was the great shofar, a very loud and then exceedingly loud sound when the Almighty descended to give us the Torah. So thematically, although that was not the appointed time of Yom Truah, but that happened in Shavuot, that is a parallel of what is going to happen at the end of the age, and that is what we are going to be looking for in just 2 minutes. So Yom Truah is the first day of the seventh month. So we have here the sliver of the new moon. When we sight the moon, that is when the first day of the month takes place, because the Almighty created, Genesis 1:14, the sun and the moon and the stars to mark days and months and moadim and seasons or appointed times. So the first day of the 7th month. And this morning we brought an interesting passage from the book of Ezekiel. Okay, in my very limited drawing, it still catches the attention of the children, so that's why I try to draft something right quick, and even as I'm telling the story, and I think they find it really cool. So Ezekiel 37, this is Ezekiel, and he is in the valley of dry bones, and it says, the hand of Yah came upon me, and he brought me out in the spirit of Yah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was full of bones. Then he caused me to pass by them all around, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and indeed they were very dry. And he said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? So I answered, O Yah Elohim, you know. Again he said to me, prophesy to these bones and say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yah. Thus says Yah Elohim to these bones, surely I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. I will put sinews on you and bring flesh upon you, cover your skin and put breath in you, and you shall live. Then you shall know that I am Yah. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise, and suddenly a rattling, and the bones came together, bone to bone. Indeed, as I looked, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them over, and there was no breath in them. And he said to me, prophesy to the breath, prophesy, son of man, and say to the breath, thus says Yah, come from the 4 winds, O breath, and breathe on these slain ones, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath came into them, And they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say, Our bones are dry, our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. Therefore prophesy, and say to them, Thus says Yah Elohim, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am Yah, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you out from your graves. I will put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I will place you in your own land. Then you shall know that I, Yah, have spoken it and performed it, says Yah. So there are two very awesome things that connect with this prophecy and Yom Truah, the Day of Trumpets. These bones are the house of Israel. What happened to the house of Israel? They were exiled into Assyria, 720 BC, and they never came back. But 700 years later, Yeshua came, and he said in Matthew 15, I have not come except for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He came for these dry bones, these people that have lost their identity. They are dead like the prodigal son. But then they repent and they turn to Yah with all their hearts, with all their souls and all their might. And they return to the ancient path. So it will become a day that will be a first day of a seventh month, a day that we have been rehearsing for thousands of years, that this house of Israel, that were dry bones, will be gathered from the four corners, the elect, the ones that endure to the end, and they will be brought back to the land. These are people that are alive, the house of Israel. Now, the greatest thing about this prophecy, the resurrection, right? We know about the resurrection. So, we put our trust in that last day. We believe that there will be a resurrection of the dead, and that we will all be judged when Yah comes and sit in his throne from Jerusalem. So, see what Paul says. Paul was a great Torah scholar. He had a great understanding and great insight. He knew all Torah by heart. And he writes in 1 Thessalonians 4:15, For this we say to you by the word of Yah, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Master will by no means precede those who are asleep. For Yah himself will descend from heaven with a shout, ruah, with the voice of an archangel, and with a trumpet, with a shofar of Elohim, and the dead in Messiah will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Messiah in the air, and thus we shall always be with him. Therefore comfort one another with these words. When we celebrate this day, the first day of the seventh month, Yom Teruah, the day of trumpets, the day of the awakening blast, there are two things. One is the resurrection of the dead. When he comes, these two events will happen back to back. The resurrection of the dead, and then we will be caught up with him. We will be caught up with him, and then we will go into Isaiah describes as the secret chambers until his wrath passes. So I wish you a very joyful and insightful Yom Teruah with new revelation and His Spirit to be upon all of us, and to have love for one another and always encourage one another in His Word. Shalom.